The purpose of this segment is to talk about scope, which is a concept that we've been using in the course but haven't actually talked about specifically. And so if you've been getting confused by decorators which decorate decorators, or functions calling functions which return functions, and so on, this video is for you. So when we talk about a variable scope, we're talking about the region in a program in which we can access that variable. This is a concept that can go from being very simple to quite difficult. So let's start with something basic and build from there. Here we've got some very simple code. X equals 2, y equals 3, print the sum. And of course we get 5. In this example, x and y are what's called global variables, and they live in what we'll call the global environment, which I'm going to represent with this box. And in this environment, x is bound to the value 2 and y is bound to the value 3. The global environment is also where all of our primitive operators are bound. So for example, the plus sign is bound to some object which carries out addition, and we won't go into too much detail about what's going on there. So let's make things a bit more interesting. So here I've just defined a function called addNums, and it returns x plus y. And when I run it, I get 11. So what's happened here is that our function has created a new scope, and this scope is local to the function. And so what happened when we defined addNums was we made this binding between this name and the function object. Now that's fine, but as soon as we called addNums by saying print the result, print addNums, we created a new environment. And I'm going to call this environment addNums. And in this environment, we made an assignment, or two assignments, from x to 5 and from y to 6. When we call addNums, Python prefers to choose variables within its local scope. If it can't do that, it then moves up, following this pointer to what's called its enclosing environment, since this addNums environment lives inside of this global environment, and looks there. If after following all these paths up into the global environment, it still doesn't find the variable it's looking for, that's when we get an error, specifically a name error.